So it's so funny, for like a year before they even started filming, Conan was like calling me, trying to get me on this Lucha Underground project.
What up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here, and you know who this is. You see it right there. He is the reigning, defending WWE Intercontinental Champion. Now look, we're filming this on 420, but I can still promise you there's not a person on this planet who can get as high as this guy. Ricochet, right. How's it going, my man?
Man, I am doing great, feeling the champion life right now.
And let's not send the wrong message to the children. We're talking about your high-flying abilities.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course.
In the
ring. Well, you know, sometimes you jump outside of the ring.
Sometimes outside the ring, yeah.
Now, look, man, we have so much to talk about, whether it be the great run you've had with WWE so far, all the amazing things to come. I want to start here very quickly, though, and we'll top and tail it. I went onto your Instagram today, and listen, as a man with an enormous smile, I couldn't help but notice, is there an action figure on this earth with more teeth than Chuck Taylor's?
It has a lot, yeah, and his mouth is wide open, too, of course. It's great. I just got it yesterday, too, actually, so.
Sick. Did he do you a solid there, or did you have to pay full price?
Honestly, I don't even think he knew that I was getting it. I think that I got it and I sent him a picture of it and he was like, oh yeah. So I think I got it myself.
That must be a pretty cool feeling considering the history you guys have had, and we'll get to it on the latter half. But yeah, what a cool little moment that must be to have those two side by side.
It's awesome. It's and I had to take a photo and had to put it out there.
Talking about social media, I know you got into it with a man by the name of Carmelo Hayes recently. I don't want to get into that too much, but it did sort of spark an interesting thing, right? For a long time in the history of WWE and pro wrestling, you know, fans didn't know how the sausage was made. It was a very brotherhood, sisterhood secret about what's going on. How has social media maybe enabled superstars to once again blur the lines between fact and fiction?
I mean, it helps us. We can use it to either just promote ourselves, we can use it for promotion. So back in the day, the only promotion was what you saw the company promote, whether it's TV or newspapers or magazines or something like that. That's the only promotion. So now we are able to promote this, or we're able to promote what we like Naruto. We are able to promote ourselves. And at the same time, like, we are able to give the fans a little, again, like with the Carmelo thing, like, although we are on different brands, different universes, as you would say, we are able to give them just a little snippet of what it might be like if we were on the same brand, you know, if we were in the same challenging for this, you know what I mean? So it's able for us to give them a little more than just the basic promotion, and just to give them a chance to look give them a chance to look at us, and give them a chance to look at things that we like, and just to give them a little more, I guess.
Well, and you know, WWE's top-notch production team can pull those tweets when the time is right, so that's always a nice little throwback. You know, I put out a Q&A on Twitter and on Reddit, and one of the things that came up is, unfortunately, you were on the losing end of this exchange, but you did have a match with the Beast Incarnate, the Canadian cowboy himself, Brock Lesnar, Super Showdown. Yeah. Well, you know, we've adopted him up here in the Great White North, so I'll rep that proudly. What are your memories of how that came together, and about the execution of the match? Because it's a kind of a rare opportunity to step in there with Brock, especially with the WWE title on the line. What were your memories of that time?
I think it started, the Rumble happened first, where, well, something happened where I think he on Raw kicked me in the nuts, basically. And so at the Royal Rumble, I saw an opportunity and I took it, which then Drew saw an opportunity and he took it, and which got him eliminated. And I think after that, maybe, I don't know if it was, he needed somebody to blame or something. So after that, I think that's when that really started to line up, and then coming over to Saudi and to just be a part of a WWE Heavyweight Championship match in general, as somebody who always watched and always dreamed of it, but never thought they would even be in the WWE in general. So to have that happen was absolutely phenomenal. And against somebody like Brock Lesnar was great.
That's super interesting. So what, I guess a two-part question, what, if not, being in the WWE and becoming champion, what was your prime motivating factor for getting into this industry? And when did you start to sort of come to the realization that, no, I could be in the WWE?
No, I played football until like freshman year of high school. And then that's when I started. Well, I started training before my freshman year of high school. I started training like 14. And then the day I turned 15 was like my first match. But I just did it because I just loved wrestling. And then I used my athletic abilities, because especially my football team at the time, we were trash. We were not good. So I wasn't getting scholarships, and I wasn't like going anywhere because no one's seeing us play. So, and no matter how good I did on the field, like we're still losing by 60. So that's sometimes. So it's like, why am I still doing this? And it's not even really fun anymore. And I love wrestling, and and at the time I was an athletic little kid doing flips and doing all that stuff. So it's like, I can be on my Rey Mysterio over here, or I could just kind of just waste time over here. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like Rey Mysterio. I wanted to be like those guys, even if I wanted to be The Rock, even if it was on the smaller scale in someone's backyard, like I wanted to do that. And then it slowly, me and actual Chuck Taylor, we started traveling to local Tennessee towns and local Illinois towns, and then local Alabama towns. And then like, it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And as the years progressed, more people saw us and more people. And I just did it. Because I wanted to. I never really did it, I'm going to do this because I'm going to be in the WWE. Because I never thought I was being in the WWE. I was just doing it because I liked it. And then I think around like 2009 or 2010 or 11 is what 10 is when I started going to Japan. And that's when I was like, oh, I can really start making a career out of this. I didn't even think that I would be in the WWE. I was like, I can make a career out of this because there are other places where I can make some money. Like, I'm not going to be in the WWE, but I can still make some money and, pay my rent and pay my car payment off of wrestling, which was great. And then later, like as the landscape of the WWE started to change a little bit, the Balors and the Sami Zayns and then those guys really starting to change how the WWE views their athletes, those guys are getting success there. So that's when and even before that, like a little bit before, I started seeing it. And I'm like, okay, so it might be possible. And especially after NXT started, I'm watching the takeovers and I'm watching all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's actually where I want to be. I want to be there. I want to be at NXT at the takeover and do those things. Like when Cesaro and Sami Zayn had that match, when Balor and Samoa Joe were going, when I think it was like Neville and Sami Zayn were doing like, so those, like, I was like, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be. And then when the Seth Rollins and those guys started going to Raw and having crazy success, I was like, there is actually, like, I could probably do this. And then things just fell into place and pieces started falling together. And then now look at me.
Have you had a chance to, look at you now, and that actually kind of curtails nicely into this next part. There was a great match outside of the WWE. I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Prince Puma. Maybe you know him, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
He took on one Rey Mysterio Jr. Did you ever get a chance to, was there ever a moment where you and Rey sort of crossed paths in the WWE locker room and sort of got to reflect on that match and how you guys have both made it back here?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Even then, he was like, it was crazy because after the match, I like went to his like locker room and was like just thanking him for everything, because that was just a huge, absolute dream match of mine. And it was like, not only was it a dream match of mine, but we got to create a masterpiece that we created and that we went out there and performed how we wanted it to be. You know what I mean? So that also helped. But I just wanted to thank him, and he was like, well, we're going to do this again one day on a bigger scale. He already was saying all that stuff. He was like, and then the craziest thing, he was like, man, I wish you could have met Eddie. Eddie would have loved you. And then that just kind of, was just right to my heart. And so like those things. But then once I got here, he definitely not brought me aside, but we got together and we just kind of reminisced like, man, remember that? And now we're actually here. Now we might actually have a chance to do it. Now we're here. So we might actually have a chance to do it once again and on a bigger scale. And I really hope before he is done lacing the boots that we get a chance to lock horns again.
And tear the house down. Well, WWE and here it is. Let's get it done. Man, Lucha Underground has such a special place in a lot of fans' hearts.
Yeah.
WWE is always
classic. It's got like a cult following. It's
it
crazy.
Does. Did you know at the time how special Lucha Underground was going to be and how well it was going to be remembered after the fact?
No. So it's so funny. For like a year before they even started filming, Conan was like calling me, trying to get me on this Lucha Underground project. He was like, yeah, we got all these guys, Robert Rodriguez and Mark Burnett, and all these guys are going to help us, blah, blah, blah. And you remember Wrestling Society X?
Yes.
I thought it was going to be something like that again. And I don't know, I wasn't interested for some reason. I was really just trying to hold off for Japan or something. And I just kept saying no for a long time. I was like, nah, man, I don't think so. Until finally one day, I don't know what it was or what happened, but he called me up and he was like, well, just come down to, because I was flying out for like a PWG, so I was already in LA. So they're like, just come by the studio, check it out, talk to the guys. We'll show you some artwork and stuff. And so I went down and talked to him for a couple hours. And I was like, this seems pretty cool. It actually seems pretty legit. So I just decided to do it. And I was like, all right, sure, yeah, let's talk more and let's do it. And it was so funny because the first episode, I wasn't even supposed to be on. Prince Puma's character wasn't even supposed to be on. It just so happened a lot of the people, I think like the Fenix and Pentagon and all those guys coming from Mexico had some problems with their visas. So they weren't able to make it. So they were like, okay, well, we'll put you and Morrison on. And then it was like the best thing that happened to me, like, because we were the main event that night. We went out there and had our match. And then since then, it was like uphill from there. So it's crazy how all the little things work, because I wasn't even going to do it. And then since I did it, and then the first show, I wasn't even supposed to be on the first show, and then things happened, and then it just blew up from there. And it really changed how a lot of people watch wrestling, because Lucha Underground wasn't a wrestling show on television. Mm-hmm. It was a television show, a television drama about a wrestling company. That, you know what I mean? So to have the vignettes in the back, not just like the promos, but to have the different things and the different angles and stuff, it really changed how people view it. And I think it was a refreshing, because, people haven't seen something like that ever. So it was really cool. I was really glad that I actually accepted, and I'm really glad that I went out there and talked to them. I'm really glad that I was a part of that.
Yeah. I always say, I always make a point to hear people out when they have an offer, because sometimes over the phone, over text, things just don't translate. But once you get to go there and physically see what it's about.
And I walked into the temple and I saw the temple set up, and I saw it. I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. If you watch like the first episode, there's like nobody there. There's like maybe a couple people, and there's a couple seats. There's nobody there. Like there's nobody on the floor like when they walk in. But then by like the Ultima Lucha, like it's literally packed to the gills. Up top's packed, the floor's packed, everything's packed. It's crazy how it just caught on.
As we begin to wrap up here, before we finish on some lighter stuff, obviously a lot was made about the fact that the Intercontinental title did not make it to WrestleMania this year. You've expressed your goals as a champion to make sure it happens next year. But I'd like to think it is a bit of a symbiotic process. The company has to afford opportunities, and it's the champion's job to show up. What is one thing WWE can do to empower Ricochet to elevate the Intercontinental title?
Give me time. Just give me opportunities. Give me a chance to show what I can do. Give me, which they have been a lot recently. Like a lot. Like they have given me that outlet to perform, because that's what Ricochet needs. He needs that outlet to show everybody that he is literally the best. When you step into that ring, when you step through those ropes and the 20 by 20 in those four corners, there's nobody. And this right here, there's nobody who's going to outwork him. There's nobody who's going to outperform him. There's literally nobody. I don't care who you pick. I don't care who your favorite is, who you like the best. That's great. But there's nobody that's going to be better than me. And I just need that one chance, one opportunity. It doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. If Ricochet's out there, he's going to be unforgettable, and you're going to remember him until the next time you see him do something else. And so I just need that opportunity, in which they have been, well, I've been kind of taking myself, to be honest with you. But that's what it needs. I just need the opportunity.
I love it. Again, as we begin to wrap up, I brought it up at the top. Just very quickly, can you tell me a little bit about the way your career is intertwined with Chuck Taylor's? Pro Wrestling Database, I at least recorded 6 to 8 matches. If you just go through your wiki, there's 32 references of Chuck Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know how many matches. We've had definitely way more than 62 matches for sure. I couldn't tell you, because it was literally for years. We would travel in his little 2001 Honda Civic. We would drive 13 hours one way, 13 hours back. We would drive literally all over the world, because he was there, and he honestly would do most everything. He would bring his camcorder, he would set it up. At the time, I'm young, so he would kind of make the match. We'd go out to perform it. He would make a little music video of that match.
Wow.
He would send that match out to promoters. He was a lot of the reason why we made it, because he was the one doing that work. Like, I didn't even know to do any of that, but he was doing it. So he really helped me out in that aspect. And then to see him, he went to Japan, and he goes overseas, and now he's like, so to see that both of us, again, it just goes to show you that, like, it's possible. It really is possible. Even if you don't, even if it's not like, you're not like, I'm doing it because I'm gonna be here. If you just have the drive, if you have the motivation, the work ethic, like I said, you can't, if you can sacrifice going out on the weekends and partying, if you can sacrifice that, if you can sacrifice doing some other things for your goal, like, it really is possible. And like, but you do need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of help. You need to be at the right place at the right time. And I really did get lucky to be able to travel with him to help me get to those next levels that I needed to get at, to be seen, to get where I needed to be, eventually the Intercontinental Champion.
What a beautiful sentiment. Chuck E.T. and Ricochet from big head of hair to Intercontinental title all the way through. Also, let me put it out there, Awful Waffle, one of the best looking finishing moves in the game.
Oh yeah, for a long time, that was one of the craziest moves that people have seen. Is just the whole dynamic of the move in general is crazy. But Awful Waffle, yeah, like what a interesting, intricate move.
100%. Okay, I think we're probably over time here, so I'm gonna keep you to like 1-sentence answers. I want to run through some rapid fire, get to know Ricochet a little bit better, and then I promise we'll be out of here. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. First, who is the spammiest character in Tekken history?
Probably Eddie.
I think How Wrong's kind of underrated, but I bet Eddie was going to be
But like, you can just press buttons with Eddie, and it's just, that's most people who don't know how to play Tekken pick Eddie, because they can just press buttons.
100%. Have you ever watched Mucha Lucha? Because you have a namesake.
Oh, of course, yes.
Is that the inspiration?
No.
No. Okay, just a coincidence. All right.
I didn't even want to be Ricochet at first. I wanted a two-name, like something, but
I think Ricochet worked out well.
Ricochet worked out great. And now I absolutely love it. I love that I have one name, like Kane. You know what I mean? I love that. It's different than everybody else.
Who is the best active high flyer not named Ricochet?
Probably Pac.
I agree. Go-to karaoke song?
Probably Wild Wild West.
Love it. Finally, I know you have a son. What is your favorite activity that you get to do with him that's maybe like something from your childhood, something that you'd look silly if you did it by yourself, but kind of get to use your kid as a scapegoat to do?
Not that, but like, he and I both, we like, especially now that we got a pool, he loves swimming. He's always loved water. He's always like, one time when he was younger, and I lived at an apartment complex that had a pool. I took him to Disney. He was obviously younger. He was probably like 7 or 8, but like all day he was like, "Are we gonna go back to the pool? Are we gonna go back to the pool?" Like so much. Like I'm like, "You want to go to the Disneyland? You want to go to back to the pool at our apartment complex?" Like so, but like that's what, because I've always loved, I like the diving boards, I like swimming and stuff. So that's something that we have always just liked doing, and we like doing go-karts as well. So any chance we do like a little go-kart race, because we're always trying to race each other. So but now we got an Oculus, and so we both try to beat each other on the Oculus, the boxing. So we try to do that. But no, just really any activity together, we kind of all enjoy. He gets more embarrassed than I do. I don't really get embarrassed, but he gets embarrassed. So anytime I try to get him to do anything that's embarrassing, he's like, "Dad,
what's a world champion got to be embarrassed about?" Ricochet, right. This has been so good, man. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time, for being such an active participant. I want to leave you with the last word, so I'll do my part very quickly. Guys, thank you so much, as always, for checking out the video. Shout out to CBS Sports for empowering the video. Full feature with Ricochet in the description. Very quickly, if you can, subscribe, thumbs up, tap the notification bell. Let us know, what is your dream Ricochet match? Maybe one you've seen already, one you haven't. Would love to hear from you. Ricochet, congrats on the Intercontinental title win. I've really enjoyed the run so far. I can't wait to see that WrestleMania slot next year. If there's anything you want to let the people know, please let them know.
No, I just want to say thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for letting me tell my stories. Everybody go follow me at King Ricochet on both Instagram and Twitter. And just keep up, man. Keep every Friday nights. Keep up. Don't blink. Keep watching. I plan on making this Intercontinental Championship run iconic, legendary. I want a pay-per-view to be on. I want the Intercontinental Championship to be on the pay-per-views, and people to be excited for the Intercontinental Championship match, like in the old days when Mr. Perfect or Shawn Michaels or The Raw or somebody. Like, I want it to be there again. It deserves to be. The legacy of the Intercontinental Championship is one of my favorites. So, guys, thank you guys so much for your support. And believe me, I hear it, I feel it, I see it, and it's not taken for granted. And I want to give that back to you guys the way I do best, and that's in the ring.